Welcome to my casual series where I do an array of whatever the hell I want. Today we're going to be sorting rappers into Hogwarts houses. Now I'm only doing huge or very relevant rappers for now since I can only cover so much ground in this one video. I threw in like arguably two smaller artsier boys, but if these videos are liked, maybe I'll do more. I could even branch off into subcategories if you want, like old school, new school, East Coast, West Coast, Southern hip hop. There are a lot of different things that I could get into, but for now, we're just doing like an introduction episode. Before I start sorting this list of rappers that I have here on my phone, I'm just gonna do a rundown of the characteristics that would classify you as a certain house. In a Gryffindor, I would probably look for a rapper with kind of like an unapologetically bold element to them. Maybe their delivery has like an odd tone to it or a certain bite. The subject matter they cover can be pretty open just as long as they frame it in kind of like a unique way, and some sort of good-hearted message underneath their bars isn't required, but it is a plus. In terms of Ravenclaws, I feel like they would be the type to do their thing quietly or humbly in their corner, but have an unquestionable level of skill. The type that you can tell took a lot of sheer effort and refining on their part, and their music speaks for itself. Also, I feel like Ravenclaws would probably have a certain wit or a refreshing or calming presence on the mic. In terms of Hufflepuffs, I'm looking for generally inspirational dudes focusing on spreading positivity. Conscious rappers could fit here if there's a lot of focus on the message in their music. They'd also likely come across as pretty level-headed and humble. Like, these are the ones you would want to grab a drink with, as opposed to Ravenclaws, who are probably more in their own head. In terms of Slytherins, I feel like those rappers would be really focused on their image. Edgy humor would 100% land you here, and their kind of brute force in your face fuck you seems more like it's trying to prove something to you as opposed to a Gryffindor's bite that feels like it doesn't really give a shit. Mumble rappers may land here if what they do genuinely puts a sour taste in my mouth, and blank slate, complete mindlessness would also inevitably have to be here. But yeah, let's just get right into it. First up, I put Danny Brown. I feel like he has to be a Gryffindor, right? Like, his squawky-ass delivery is just individual as fuck, first of all, and his very vulgar energy and kind of relentlessly realistic depiction of a drug-infested lifestyle all feels like it's for the greater purpose of warning against it, so yeah, very Gryffindor to me. Future's a total fucking Slytherin. I feel like if you're just cranking out mass quantities of careless music, completely relying on your producers to carry your career, knowing you're financially set for life, you gotta be a Slytherin. Aesop Rock. Well, his odd, stuttery tone of voice, which is like candy to the ears to me, is very Gryffindor, but honestly, his very eccentric lyricism always frames a really intelligent message, both of which scream Ravenclaw, so probably ultimately Ravenclaw, although I could see either. J. Cole. So, I feel like most of the appeal in J. Cole just comes in him being a relatable, good human being and endearing storyteller, so I feel like he's definitely a Hufflepuff for me. In terms of Tyler, the Creator, his early work is some Slytherin shit, let's not beat around the bush, but I feel like he's graduated to Hufflepuff by now. Now he's all about rainbows and flowers and shit, so yeah. Drake. Does this man pay child support, like, for his son? Even if he does, I've always felt like some case could be made for Drake's lyrics being kind of borderline misogynistic in the past. Like, he just reminds me of that classic sketchy, nice guy who just desperately wants to save some damsel in distress from her troubled mind, but then whines when she moves on out of the toxic relationship she was in with him. Which is pretty hilarious and ironic since he is supposed to be the sensitive one, but something about that just strikes me as worse than all the rappers who are all fuck bitches get money, since at least they're upfront about it. And yeah, if we're being real, his music is like the emptiest wallpaper shit ever, at least to me, and definitely nowadays. Scorpion just sounds like it was made on a fucking random Drake album generator, like, fucking what? And his voice is just so grating after a while, like, there is nothing special about it, so to me, he is definitely a Slytherin. Vince Staples. Oh, dude, there is so much charisma and I don't give a fuck energy oozing out of that guy, like, he just flaunts that yelpy-ass vocal tone like he don't give a fuck. Sounds just odd and colorful as hell, and I feel like you could also make the case that the kind of futuristic production and intelligent topics he covers in Big Fish Theory also contribute to him being kind of like a Gryffindor, so that's pretty easy for me, honestly. Travis Scott, though, dude, this has to be, like, one of the most difficult ones so far, honestly, because like, his niche of hallucinogenic trap, if you will, just has that instant association with Slytherin for me. Like, sometimes the picture he paints is unapologetically dark, like, on radio, fuck's sake. But then Birds in the Trap and Astroworld have, like, a hype factor, and his delivery and ad-libs just get playful as hell, so maybe, like, Slytherin with a dash of Hufflepuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, Travis. Honestly, no disrespect. You're really ahead of your contemporaries in trap, so keep doing what you're doing. God bless. Yeah, J-Rock. Fuck it, let's just delete him, man. He's not even relevant. Denzel Curry. I feel like this one's pretty easy for me. I mean, his voice has a convincingly hungry energy to it, and also a slightly raspy tone that sets him apart from other rappers, and I feel like his openness in addressing where he's from and where he's at mentally is pretty bold in the way a Gryffindor would be. Eminem, though, I mean, this man's always kind of been an obvious Slytherin, right? Like, early on he was rapping through the persona of Slim Shady to get away with edgy humor and misogyny, and now he's just like the most bitter, cringy 40-year-old alive, so cool, he's Slytherin. Playboy Cardi. I think I'm gonna go with Hufflepuff because personally the most significant thing I get out of his music is his playful as hell delivery. Throw Young Thug in there too, since I think his primary draw-in factor is his ear for infectious hooks and melody. Sure, neither are lyricists like that, but neither has like a mean-spirited energy, so I would have to go Hufflepuff. Kanye though, oh boy. Listen, I don't know Kanye West in real life, but from what I've seen of his personality, the man just seems very Slytherinable. I mean, the way that he's handled his shows in the press in the past has just been kind of immature, and it seems like a lot of people think he gets a pass from owning up to these actions since he's Kanye, but still, especially earlier on in his career, there are some elements of Gryffindor in there. Like, his artistic drive was very tangible, and also his not giving a fuck about what anyone has to say about him is definitely a Gryffindor trait, so I'm gonna go Gryffindor, but he's on the ice. Tupac, I mean, listen, to me, he's like all image. He never actually lived the life he rapped about. No one ever brings up the rape case, too. He just, like, no one cares that he, like, maybe sexually assaulted a fucking... Yeah, I'm gonna go Slytherin, personally. Earl Sweatshirt. Probably the majority of his traits are pretty Gryffindor, at least in his music, since his kind of slow, druggy delivery is very one-of-a-kind, and also his ability to just dig deep into a psyche and address struggle takes some boldness that would point to Gryffindor, but his character strikes me as kind of isolated and more Ravenclaw-esque, so I could see either, ultimately. Then I just put like a blanket term for most of the members of NWA. It's just that, like, even in their solo material, their let's fuck shit up and wreak havoc energy just hasn't aged well, and it seems like a lot of what they did was for the shock factor, so I would have to go Slytherin. MF Doom, the king. I think all things considered, for me, he would have to be Ravenclaw. I mean, his delivery does have a bite to it, and an unapologetic braggadocio, but he attacks that sentiment in ways that are so just meticulous, and he's a crazy wordsmith, obviously, and his rhyme schemes are insane, and I think just the obvious, like, dedication to his craft that you can see would have to make him a Ravenclaw. But yeah, I could see either, Lil Yachty. Well, definitely Hufflepuff. I mean, what an adorable boy. Although, Lil Boat would go in Slytherin. There you go. And, 21 Savage, I mean, his recent material makes me want to put him in Hufflepuff, but he said some sketchy shit in the past. I might have to just give him a pass because as of recent, he's had a nice track record as a human being. And, you know, like, his last record's title being I Am Greater Than I Was, that one song about his mom or whatever, and, like, you know, the charity work and shit he's done. We'll just say Hufflepuff, but, like, I'm watching 21 Savage. Jay-Z. I mean, that hoe cheated on Beyonce, man. Like, also there is definitely a materialistic braggadocio to him, especially in projects like The Blueprint and The Black Album. And I think ultimately 444 is the most humble we've ever seen him. And even though that is his most recent album, I think when looking at his career holistically, it makes the most sense that he would be in Slytherin for me. Kendrick Lamar, the conscious king. I mean, this man is wise beyond his years. I think his presence on the mic and the way he frames lyrical ideas is just the most calming shit ever, so he would have to be Ravenclaw for me. Common. Okay, I think in the later part of his career, his lyricism feels like it wants to help people find motivation and strength. I feel like most of the time with his music, the moral or message is the most important thing you're supposed to come away with, so I'm thinking Hufflepuff for me. Milo is like the easiest Ravenclaw for me, apart from the fact he strikes me as kind of a prick IRL. His lyricism reads like it's coming from a dude who's constantly in his own head, just like smoking weed and shit, spewing out these thoughts that only make sense to him. Half of which come across as really intelligent and perceptive, actually, and even when I have no idea what the hell he's saying, it's just like abstract ear candy. It's so nice, so I'm feeling a Ravenclaw. Mos Def. Okay, so I feel like his well-rounded skill you can make a case for Ravenclaw there, but ultimately I think his heart is like the most tangible thing within his music for me, so I'm feeling like a Hufflepuff. Open Mike Eagle. Okay, so to me, Open Mike Eagle is witty as hell. I think he has a conscious bone in his body. I think he has a tongue-in-cheek element to him. All around, he just strikes me as a really smart observer of people socially and just situations around him. He does have like a calming character, and he's kind of a softie, so maybe there's some Hufflepuff in him, but holistically, I'm gonna say Ravenclaw for me. Logic. Oh, dude, y'all already know he about that peace, love, positivity, so I would have to say Hufflepuff, but I'm gonna be honest, with that last album, he is on thin ice. So someone needs to watch him if we're gonna put him there. Fuck. Andre 3000, last but not least. So I think he has a pretty old, like, wise aura to him and an insane level of technical skill, both of which are Ravenclaw sort of traits. Also the way that he paints a dark picture of just the issues happening around him, you can make the argument there's a conscious bone in his body a little bit, so I'm gonna say, all things considered, he's probably a Ravenclaw. So yeah, that's the end of the rappers that I have on this list. May cover more if I do another episode of this. Comment your objections, because, this is all up in the air, Like, where would you put these rappers? Did any of this piss you off? I would love to know. Please tell me. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you sometime this week, probably with an album review. And, I'm sorry for the upload gap thing. I was with Ryan and Buffalo and Josh, my hoes. We were fucking shit up in Chester in the UK. Oh no, I just revealed where they're from. Fuck, don't stalk them. They're good people. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please.